Now, the United Nations says the storm that's just ravaged parts of southern Africa is possibly the worst weather-related disaster ever to hit the Southern Hemisphere. Aid workers in Mozambique say they're struggling to get urgent supplies to thousands of people in need of help. It's feared that over 1,000 people could have died. Neighbouring Zimbabwe has also been badly affected, with at least 100 people known to have been killed there and hundreds more are missing. Richard Lister reports.
Beira, a city of more than 500,000 people, lashed by Cyclone Idai and struggling with its aftermath. The Red Cross says almost 90% of the buildings here have been affected. The storm took out power and communications. The UN fears this could be the worst weather-related disaster ever to hit the Southern Hemisphere. So many of those who had little before have almost nothing now. I was sleeping at home, said Leila George, when suddenly the roof flew away. I called for help. We were screaming, but no one came. And while the worst of the wind has passed, it is still raining and there's more on the way. The danger isn't over.
The biggest threat we have now, even bigger than a cyclone, is floods. Because it's raining more and more, the water levels are rising.
As the cyclone swept through Mozambique, a vast area of farmland was inundated. The maize crop was ready for harvest and much has now been lost. That could mean there are food shortages for the rest of the year.
The situation here in Mozambique is catastrophic. Damages and losses are tremendous. There's no definitive human toll. It's difficult to measure the scale of the disaster.
In Zimbabwe too, major river crossings have been swept away. Moving aid through this region is a serious challenge, with so much of the road network now impassable. Some food has been getting through, but supplies are quickly exhausted, such as the scale of the demand. Those washed out of their homes are moving to higher ground, hoping for food and shelter. Their numbers are growing all the time. The injured find treatment wherever they can, and their stories are heartbreaking.
I still haven't found where my daughter was buried in the debris. There is no furniture, no clothes, only rubble and stones.
My mother, my father, my 2 young sisters, one of whom had just had a child, they are all dead.
My house was destroyed in the floods and I was buried underneath. My daughter was with me in bed and was washed away from me.
No one yet knows how many are dead. In Zimbabwe's Chimanimani, they can barely keep up with the number of burials required. With more than 1.5 million people in the cyclone's path across the region, it's feared there will be many more bodies to find. Richard Lister, BBC News.